Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say hello and welcome to a fresh, brand new edition of the program ASHFORD GARLEY Live on British Radio Africa. Today is Monday, April 14th, 2025, and we are coming your way from the Twin Cities, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Of course, as always, this is yours truly, the brother who doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than a lion. And first off, I like to give God the glory, give him praise, give him honor, magnify his name, Father God. We thank you for giving us the strength to be here tonight as we discuss a situation about our beloved country, Liberia. And Father God, speak through us to your people. And in the name of Jesus, we have prayed. Thank you. And shortly, I will introduce my colleague, my my friend, brother, partner, a broadcast partner in the business, Dr. James T. Fisk, to join us as we talk about issues affecting our motherland, Liberia. So sit back, relax, share the video, invite a few friends, so that we can together have a great time. I'd like to say hi to Mr. A.B. Bobler. He's always on point and in studio as well. Thank you. Grab something to drink, get the popcorn rolling, and let's together have a fun. Okay, we are back, and once again, it's been a minute since you last saw the both of us on this platform. Let me say welcome to my friend and brother, Dr. James T. Fisk. Dr. Fisk, welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you, Ashwa. Nice to be here.
It's been a minute, my man. How are you adapting to coping with the new environment?
Well, I mean, life is what it is, and life is about meeting up with challenges. So I've tried my best to meet up with the challenges as they come and they go. I mean, we continue. As someone once said, in the course of the people or in the course of our circumstances, where the struggle continues.
Okay, well, let me turn the music down so that we can get started here because we're here for the next few minutes and hoping that others can join by way of sharing the video, invite a few friends, and let us talk about a country that we all love, Liberia. First off, man, give me your own assessment since the inception of this new administration. I won't say that the boycott's administration. What have you felt? What are you feeling? And are you surprised at some of the things that are going on? Uh, these are some of the things that you foresee or foresaw before they took over?
I mean, so Liberia has a system of government, democracy, and that's a system that's being used to usher in leaders into Liberia. That's a system that brought Ellen. That's a system that brought George Weah. That's a system that has brought Joseph Boakai. Um, so basically, the choice of the people is kind of limited by what the system is providing. Um, After the war, it made sense to have an agenda of reunification. Whether that agenda was successful or not is something that's up in the air for everyone to judge. So then Ellen had 12 years? That's a decade and change to make significant strides for Liberia. And that didn't happen. And then George Weah came. So now you have someone who's had an opportunity to work with international organizations and coming to hold power. So in other words, basically, she kind of set the standard. Okay. So once she came and did not perform as well as the rest of the society would have expected, George Weah more or less didn't see himself as having the responsibility to do much for the Liberian people, and he did not. And then Joseph Walker has taken over. Um, Joseph Walker is, I mean, he's an older person, and the chances of him having a second term is not that likely. And in a system that's structured in a way that accountability is almost zero, because we have international index that speak to these things. You would What we've seen is that you have excess of corruption. The same kind of, I mean, business as usual of flying all over the place on government funds and all that kind of thing, buying $1.2 million or whatsoever thousands of dollars of vehicle in a country that's producing almost nothing. And if there's any production that's coming out of Liberia, it's coming from foreign concessions, metal, steel, fire, stone, and the rest of it. And these are the same people that argue that government cannot create jobs for its citizens. So government is not creating jobs, but somehow revenue is magically being generated so that these guys focus on things that are trivial, that are not uplifting the rest of the country. So generally speaking, I mean, all of these governments have been successive failures to Liberian people. The reason for this is simple. There's only one major agenda that Liberia post-war and going forward should have been focused on, and that's jobs, jobs, jobs. And that hasn't happened under any one of them.
So, listening to you speak, you're saying, for example, if this government is in power, the guys who consider themselves to be part of the opposition will speak as if they have good intention for the country. And by the time the table turns, they do similar things or even do worse than what they were complaining about in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, in politics, they say power corrupts and absolute power corrupt. Absolutely. The question you are asking me makes me to think about Joe Howard Taylor. Joe Howard Taylor was on uh, television the other day talking about how her request for her amenities after leaving the office of the vice presidency is enshrined in the statutes. But then she said, with all any degree of apprehension, that those statutes that enables her to continue to take money from the Liberian people were actually structured by herself. She was there. She oversaw. So that's how these guys are using the very constitution, the constitution that was intended to be by the people, for the people, and the rest of it is now used against the people. against the progress of the nation. You have people signing concessions. You have, and I continue to argue, as I argued before Boaga came to power. You have 43 square miles of fertile soil. You have over 200 inches of rainfall, and then you have a market of over 2 million of over 2 million people, at least 4 million people with the capacity to purchase. And then the government leaves that market opened for international for that market to be controlled by other nations, by other individuals from other nations. So basically robbing itself of millions of dollars when the United States and other rich countries talk about make a budget projection of $10 billion or $12 billion, 15 or $30 billion. How do you think these people are making these projections? Not by magic. It is because these people are investing in the country. They are selling to the market, the domestic market that they have. Liberia has not taken advantage of that. And then we talk about sovereignty. And then what even make it worse, we're not even feeding ourselves and get people water or in the street. Then people like children, talk about, oh, we want to be a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, as if to say people not looking at things objectively. So that's what we have. The main things that are supposed to be done, try to uplift the dignity of these ordinary citizens, try to make the society peaceful. I always say this. Liberia is quiet. Liberia is not peaceful. Peaceful means someone go to sleep and can wake up in the morning knowing that they have a job opportunity, they can feed their family and the rest of it. In the absence of that, you don't have peace of mind. If you don't have peace of mind, collectively, the society is not a peaceful society. You see, instead of trying to resolve that, these guys are going around shaking hands with regional leaders and the rest of it and not bringing anything back for Liberia. George Weah did the
But,
same thing. Now
but
Baka
what?
is doing the same thing with as much opulence as George
But
Weah
what?
did.
But what? Why do the people continue to do this? Are they doing it because of the gullibility of the Liberian people, or they know how the psyche of the people works? Is that what they're doing? This. Speaking of Joy Howard Taylor that you mentioned, she was once the first lady under the administration of a very notorious gentleman who brought the orchestrated the war of countless of thousands of people were murdered. People's lives, especially the young brothers and sisters, like damaged, end up becoming zocos, as we say in the Liberian parlance. Besides, went on to become a senator for Bon County for over a decade, and she subsequently became the vice president for 6 years under George Weah. And I remember in 2009 and 10, she leased her building that is on the Tubman Boulevard there to the French government, the French embassy. They pay her, and they lease the building, and she can live over that building alone for the rest of her life. But this is a woman complaining that she doesn't have a car to drive. She complaining about benefits, that is due her and stuff. Why they continue to do this thing? At one time, several years ago, she said $13,000 a month was too small for her. I mean, what? Why do people see our country like, man?
Well, it's not about what the people see our country like. It's what the system allows to happen in the country. Okay. Western democracy is not very robust to counter the systemic, culturally terrible attitude of theft and graft and all of these things against the Liberian people. No, the Western democracy is not that robust. Okay. At least the system. So, in other words, somebody understands that, okay, I can come to power and I can steal. And before anybody try to do anything to me, it's going to take maybe 6 years or worst case scenario, 9 years. That's the system that has been given handed to the Liberian people. Okay. Whether there's a referendum to try to overthrow that system and get something that's more robust, that will work in the interest of like Liberian people, ask yourself, are these guys, have you ever seen a thief walk into a home and there's nobody there and they have access to steal everything? Have you seen a thief just walk away? It's not going to happen. Okay. So unless the people themselves come together and realize that this system, because it's not about the individuals, what is breeding the individuals is system. And that system of Western democracy is not as robust. It's a good system if the people had integrity, but the people don't have integrity. So then it becomes an albatross around the neck of an entire nation, keeping the nation suppressed at the hands of a few people who can now sit in their chambers and write laws to support themselves. Joe Howard being the picture of that, it being the imagery of that stuff. Okay. When they make laws to abrogate the responsibility to work in the interest of the country. Okay. And it's just about, and these guys take the money and then they build a bunch of lavish homes and hotels. And well, like I said it, when you take the money, instead of carrying it abroad, bring it home. So let's look at a scenario where you go, you take the money that's intended for the country, instead of creating an opportunity to have jobs. You open one bag of rares, you give people a few cups with some sardines, some stupid stuff like that. Okay, you've not done anything. You've not empowered people. Even if you want to build houses for the people, you're still not empowering them, because at the end of the day, people have to eat when they're in those homes. So it's all about creating jobs. They say, okay, we'll not create jobs. Okay, but you build hotel. What have you done? You've done nothing, because at the end of the day, who are you waiting to go and patronize those hotels? Shouldn't it be Liberians after they've worked hard, just like over the weekend, they just go in those hotels and be able to patronize? And then there's a circulation of money. It builds the income. That's the GDP of the entire country. But because these guys have abrogated the money to themselves among themselves, what they've done is that they've strangulated the economy. So nothing is working. And creating everybody want to build school. Everybody want to make great. There's nothing wrong with education, but how can you build school without understanding that those people that you are intending to go to school, they need money to be able to pay the teachers. So it's still boiled down to creating jobs. Okay. So and then when you talk about jobs, oh well, the private sector. Who's the private sector?
So, so,
Lebanese,
so,
Indian,
so, why do you
Chinese.
then make why do you then make of the argument that government is not there to create jobs, and other countries are doing it though. The government is involved and jobs are being created. You can see that relief, the economic relief in other countries, not too far from our country. But they got that mindset that government is not there to create jobs. And it doesn't take that much to create jobs and have things going, especially from the agriculture sector.
And that's it. People want to be lazy. That's the lazy excuse to do nothing. Okay, in America, everybody want to all these government officials keep coming. Okay, when the government provide resources to the states to build the highways, that's public sector jobs. When government provide incentive to U.S. farmers, they are creating jobs. That's public sector, even though it appears to be private individuals, but they are receiving funding, government funding. Look at hospitals in this country. Almost all of the hospitals receive subsidy from government. So, in other words, is infusion of government revenue into those areas. Okay, so in a way, become public, private, or whatever, working together, so on and so forth. But in Liberia and in most African countries, most of the citizens are paupers in their own country, poor people. So you are not expecting them to have the capacity to involve themselves in any extensively capital generating activity. Okay. Some activities that we are talking about would cost like almost $1 million and more. Okay. So where would you have that kind of income? You have that kind of income from government. You will have public-private partnership where you build factories all across the country. You build factories all across the country, especially agro factories. What's going to happen is that you're going to be incentivizing farmers. What's going to happen is that you're going to depopulate Monserrado or Monrovia as people go into those areas to look for jobs. What's going to happen is that it's going to lead to self-sufficiency, because now it's not just about agriculture and growing food, but it's about making sure that what is produced is harnessed in the country, and that produce is sold right in the market that the government has complete control over. Okay. And then you uplifting the GDP, and then the government can look and say, okay, fine, because we are generating so much revenue, we can say within the next 10 years, Liberia will be able to have a billion of a budget of $50 billion. And then we can end up like Ethiopia, maybe have about 1,000 airplanes in Liberia. And people, Liberians are not going to places and seeing what other African countries are doing. And these politicians are going and seeing these things and not asking themselves how these things are happening and how can we do these things to benefit Liberia. They're doing a great disservice to the country.
Thank you. Well, folks, if you're just joining us, this is Ashford Garley Live on British Radio Africa. We're coming your way from the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And of course, I have with me tonight my friend and brother, Dr. James T. Fisk. We are talking about Liberia, the country that we all love. Don't be selfish. Share the video, invite a few friends so that we can all have fun there tonight. We've almost gone half an hour. We're until the top of the hour tonight. But I want to segue a little bit to talk about the current administration. When they were on the outside looking in, they took all the good things. They criticized George Weah. They saying George Weah was not competent enough to lead the country, and now they have the opportunity. Uh, has anything changed about the leadership of the country? I mean, are they doing what they're supposed to do? They claimed that they were more experienced than George Weah. They in fact called him the rookie in terms of running the country, and now they are in power. Has anything changed, Dr. Fix? You saw this government come in. As a matter of fact, you stuck to your guns and say, you know what, nothing going to change about Liberia, and that is end up coming to reality.
No, nothing was going to change because we have a system that doesn't compel the leaders to do the right thing for its people. Period. That's what I'm saying. If we don't have a system that's more robust than what we have, nothing is going to happen. And then what is even worse is that system is almost akin to a beauty pageant. Okay.
Mm.
What is the correlation between popularity and the ability to do the right thing? There's none. There's none. There's no correlation. You can't show me the correlation. Okay. There's no philosophy that backs any correlation between popularity and ability to do the right thing. Nor is there one that show that because someone is popular, they are patriotic. Okay. What is needed for Liberia and any other country is someone who's patriotic. End of story. It's not about education, it's not about experience. Because if you are, I mean, those things matter, okay? But if you are to rank things in according to the order of priority, what is most needed in a person who wants to aspire to leadership of a country, patriotism is always number one, okay? Because people are patriotic, they will make hard decisions in the interest of their people. Look at Zelensky. Okay, look at Donald Trump, for instance. Okay. Donald Trump they may say all the thing about Donald Trump. I mean, not necessarily be a Trump fan, but Trump is patriotic towards his own country to the extent he feels that I mean there are people coming to rip America off, and so they should be deported and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so number one is patriotism. Look at Liberia, the kind of filth that's in Liberia now is even worse than when George Weah was president. And so, what the experience do? How has experience addressed that situation? It has not. Why the country is filthy, which can lead to diseases, outbreak of diseases, and people are dying needlessly in the country. The man said, "Now I'm buying $400,000 car," and the legislators talking about giving want to bribe people over $200,000, and people can't even find job in the country. Can't even find job. It is either the society is extremely peaceful or the society is extremely cowardly, because no group of people will want to live under that extreme
But what's the
hardship.
essence of riding the 400,000 or 600,000 a vehicle when just the other day you were borrowing money to survive, you were on loan to survive, and look at the very deplorable condition of the state-run medical facility, the JFK. What's the essence? Why you need a bulletproof vehicle? Who's looking for you? You're 80 years old. Come on, James.
But the thing is, the funny thing is that you buying bulletproof car to run on a bunch of old dilapidated streets that need to be restructured. You don't even have the capacity to do so. Now you have to get the Chinese to come in and fix your own roads for you. So if you don't see that as a priority, what does it tell you? One of the best things, to tell you the truth, that has happened to Africa is to close down USAID. USAID. USAID were pampering African leaders to think that it was not in their interest to work hard for their own people. Okay, so they'll be like, oh, well, we have a budget. Oh, how much is USAID contributing to that budget? This is what was happening. Okay, you have a sovereign nation. Like in the case of Liberia, you have a market of 4 million people. What's the excuse for poverty? It's none. You have a market. You're not a landlocked country. Liberia is not landlocked. If Liberia was landlocked, you say, okay, well, before we do anything, we got to pass through Nigeria, Sierra Leone. No, no. We have ports. The country is not landlocked. The country has a market of over 4 million people. How come the country is poor? What's and the only reason is simple: the lack of patriotism. Because when there's no patriotism, you don't see the need to work in the interest of your people. You come and give them empty rhetoric. Okay. And this is what has happened. This is what has happened. Okay. Ellen came and said that, oh, well, my agenda is to be able to cancel Liberia debt. Okay. So you cancel Liberia debt and people don't have job. What exactly have you done? Nothing. But that debt could also have been offset. There could have been an offset of Liberian debt had you invested in creating massive job employment all across the country. Because what that would have done, like Samuel Doe did, would pay and then have a national drive. Okay, liquidate, declare rice a national security commodity. Make sure that rice is grown and produced and sold in Liberia. So basically, you cut off external importation into the country. Do you know how much billions of dollars yearly that you're going to generate? But because these guys are I speculate, okay, that these guys are getting chump change, okay, from these importers. So now they sacrifice billions of dollars in the interest of $1 or $2 million because the word million sounds so big to them. These are crumbs as far as international trade and commerce is concerned. These things are crumbs. Okay. It is a small population of people. Liberia unemployment should be almost zero. America has an unemployment of what, 2% or 5%? That's 100 and something million people, or maybe 200 million people, all of them working. Okay, and then you have a population of less than 5 million people, and then people still unemployed. It makes no sense.
We are 90 days now into the broadcast administration, but he's on record to say that the first 100 day there will be no vehicles stuck on the road in Liberia. Has he accomplished that? Is that what we're saying now? Or by that, keke then all getting stuck down.
Well, at the time, what they asked, say, where was he getting the money from? Where's the money coming from? Where was the money coming from to initiate to initiate and to sustain those projects? Zero. Zero. No money was coming from anyone. And it's so sickening, and people be like, oh, well, the responsibility of government is to create the enabling environment. What is the enabling environment? What is it? What is it in a country where you have unemployment over 80%, people stealing, people begging, the place is dirty? What's the enabling environment? Because the people are quiet, because you don't have peace. Okay. So if you think you need to you need to abrogate those responsibilities to other institutions. Where you think these guys, when they come to extract, whether in terms of mineral, whether in terms of the US dollar. Okay, because when they trade, they leave your currency with you and take the US dollar out and go and do something else with it. Okay. And even Liberians. Okay, remember the GMAP when Ellen was about to come to power? She and Toga McIntosh, all of them, they structured the GMAP, and then one people like us try to refine that whole document so that Liberians, because the initial idea from Ellen was to have international people, Caucasians and international people to come to Liberia and help, and people like us argue that it should be Liberians. But when Liberian people came, what did they do? The very Liberians, most of them use that money to pay back student loan. How did that benefit Liberia? Zero. Most of them use it to pay the mortgage. How did that benefit Liberia? Zero. Ellen was in office for 12 years. What is the net benefit you can show that GMAP was able to provide? Because mind you now, GMAP was predominantly Liberians coming in to help build their own country. What can we show? So it's a culture. It's a culture, and that culture cannot be combated with that system that we have of Western democracy that allows someone to stay in power, stay for 6 years, stay for 9 years. Basically, nothing happens. And then they leave from power, come back to the same people and start telling the same people now that look at Akara's great. Took $90,000, went to France to have a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And then Akara's great come back to the Liberian people and start to explain to Liberian people how Joseph Boakai then not doing the right thing. I'm not a Boakai fan. But that level of disingenuousness is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. How can you even have a face to even talk about corruption? But that is what's happening in the country. You see, and then the people who are supposed to be there, to speak truth to power, all of them sitting on the sidelines and waiting for the next maybe 2028, and then they start to speak to the issues, but they're already late.
Now, let us talk about the code of conduct for a minute. I remember the boycott administration. Back then, they were in the opposition. They criticized George Weah for not upholding the code of conduct. And what do they do, or what are they doing right now? In our very eyes, in our faces, they are abusing the code of conduct. Prime example was yesterday when the managing director of the LPRC, the managing director of the Labrador Water and Seaward, the sitting vice president, they were openly campaigning with government resources for a candidate of their choice in the soon to happen by-election of a senatorial election in Nima County, where you have Mana Edith Gunglewe and Representative Samuel Koga. Government resources. Just the other day, you were there accusing George Weah of abusing state resources and abusing the code of conduct. But you are doing the same thing. And you expect a different result? Dr. Fisk.
But that's the tradition. That's the tradition of the country. Once upon a time, 13 government officials were tried and executed on the pool publicly. And what was the reason for killing them? Rampant corruption. The people who came and say the people that they executed were rampantly corrupt. What did they do? They continued the tradition of rampant corruption. In fact, they even step up the game. And then Charles Taylor King. What was Charles Taylor's excuse for bringing war that killed over 250,000 of Liberians? He said the country was corrupt, they were corrupt, and he will come to come and come and straighten the country because Liberian girls have become prostitutes internationally. That guy did the worst to Liberian girls than anybody else. Okay? So everybody come and say the same thing. So it's not about the individuals, it's about the system, the system that is there. Because the system is supposed to be able to sustain a nation. And the system is under attack by the same people that are supposed to be guardians and gatekeepers of that very same system. You see, so the entire would need a national period of introspection. Okay, where Liberians can go home and sit down and look at and ask themselves, is this thing working for us? Because they say when you continue to do one thing the same way and you continue to have the same result, it's stupid. That's the definition of stupidity. It's not working for the country. The country continue to be is to slide needlessly into poverty. Gradually, we end up being the Somalia of West Africa, where basically there's nothing in Liberia because the last piece of resources have been sold out. Metal steel. Okay, so metal steel is there to collect the last remnants of iron ore. So what happens after the iron ore? After they clear all the iron ore, all these people then that are supposed to, oh well, metal steel have 4,000 Liberians giving them job. All these people will come become jobless. What is the government doing to put in place to make sure that these people, by the time metal steel finish taking all the iron ore, and make Liberia a useless, empty land? What is there to replace that? Nothing.
So,
All these
so
guys
Dr.
are doing
Franks,
getting
if I were
churches.
to
They're doing
if I were
nothing.
to ask you if I were to ask you now, with a little over a year now in this administration, that with on the outside, calling George Weah a thief, calling him inept, calling him that he was incompetent, he didn't know what he was doing. Now that they're in
Mhm.
power, what can you point to, uh, in terms of change? What have they done to uplift the livelihood of the Liberian people? I mean, in terms of what the critics of George we are on, what can you point to now? You have been following. You heard, you saying, as a matter of fact, you just got back from Liberia. So what can you point to? What can you say has been a change in this administration to uplift the livelihood of the Liberian people in terms of creating jobs, in terms of getting our young girls off the street, in terms of uh, uh, uplifting the medical system in the country?
Nothing. Nothing.
Hmm.
Nothing has substantially changed. It's still the same thing. Okay. And in fact, I mean, to their credit, what they've tried to do, because government is supposed to be a system of continuance. Okay.
Right.
So what they've tried to do is to continue with some of the projects that George Weah started, which he was never going to complete under 6 years. Okay. So it's good that like the rubber fee project. Okay, so they're working on that and some other little projects here and there. But the country continued to remain a dirty place. The country continued to remain a jobless place. The country continued to remain a place that lacked basic health infrastructure. So how do you attract doctors? How do you attract the real kind of professionals that you want to turn the system of your country around? It takes money. And that's what the Caucasian country, Western countries are using money to attract talent. The only way you're going to generate money, the only way you're going to attract talent is to generate money. And the best way to generate, you're not going to generate money by loan. You go to IMF, how much is IMF going to go to Liberia and give Liberia $100 million or $1 billion? No. Is Liberia capable of generating $1 billion with good projects? Yes.
So what was Boycott's intention? We
Baga's
witnessed,
intention was to become president. Period. It's that
we we
narrow.
we saw William Vitas Tubman, and Tubman learned on the Tubman for 19 years. Boycott was
Mhm.
vice president on the Ellen for 12 years. They all accused George we have of not knowing anything. I mean, he's just a little boy from the street that you just accustomed to playing soccer. But now you are the president after serving 12 years on the Ellen, and this is what we get in return.
George Weah's argument after Ellen left power was that there was nothing significant that was done in the country, and most of what he did were things that had not been done since 1847. So he says, okay,
Mhm.
Ellen, when Ellen was president, had all of these very fine printout reports that she was sending to the UN and other international agencies to say that she was doing a big job for Liberia. Okay. But the biggest hallmark of what Ellen did was to be able to clear Liberia debt. Other than that, what do we know about Ellen? What did she really do that we can say, okay, fine, this is what Ellen Johnson, this is the legacy of Ellen Johnson? I don't see it. I mean, this is an open platform. I stand to be corrected. Okay, stand to be corrected. When George Weah came, I mean, he saw Ellen as okay, that person to look up to. So if Ellen came and Ellen was not able to accomplish this, then who am I to accomplish it? So then he set his expectation very low. Okay, and people saw through it, and people saw that excuse me, and people saw that this guy was not delivering. What did the people want? That's the question. The people always wanted jobs. The people didn't want you to act like Jetty or Seti Brothers and all the kind of thing and open bag of wreck and make people stand in line like animals and give them 3 cup of rice or 4 cup of rice and one sardine. Is that a policy? What is it? Okay, so a system of patronage was established by Ellen. Continue on Awia, continue with Boaka. The other day they say, how you call the woman, the senator pro tempore, why you call her?
Yomli Kanga, Lawrence.
Yombli Kanga. Yombli
Hmm.
Kanga proudly opening bag of rice and making people stay. What is that? That's madness. That's social madness. And do you only think of your people like animals? Because only animals are fed, only children are fed. Responsible people are given job opportunities to make their own livelihood. You see, so they criticize we are, and they use all kind of empty cliche to criticize we are. I mean, we are is not a fan of mine. Okay, oh well, this guy don't know anything, and the rest of it, and he was corrupt too. But what was the agenda? The agenda was just to come and do the same thing. Joe Bwaka is struggling as equally as we are. Bwaka is wasting government resources as equally as we are, maybe more. Okay, but what did Liberians do? Liberians move we are. Okay, I would have hoped that that would have been a political statement to say if you come to power, you don't do the right thing, we'll move you from power. So if that was a trend, what it then means is that that whole Unity Party is going to be swept away. But what is going to replace Unity Party? As we speak right now, the reality of George Weah coming back to power very hard. People shouldn't be fooling themselves. Be like, oh, he will not come to power. Yeah, he will not come to power because that's how you feel. What about the marketers that are out there, the Unity Party busting the markets with all proper information about where they should go, busting people things, okay, and not giving them the opportunity to be able to earn a living. And then when people go steal, which is bad, by the way, then you take them, you kill them, or you take them, you put them in jail. Are you giving them any alternative? You're not leaving them with much choice. But to go back to where they came from, like they say, the devil, Meanwhile, when we are come back to power, we are already understand that they run, the last run, they want part the last run. So you see, Cloud, we are then other than coming. My understanding is that she got a big estate in Jamaica. Where she got the money from to get a big estate in Jamaica? Like resources. These people, whether Ellen, Joseph Boyaka, Josh Weah, they are taking from the mouths of babies,
But will you
and they
be
are not.
surprised? Will you be surprised when we see Joshua again as president after boycott?
No,
Because
I
I
will
mean,
not. Well,
okay.
I would be surprised. He would down fear no force. The people are already destitute. You didn't create job for the people. The people are destitute. What do you expect them to do? What do you expect them to do? They have no choice. They have a system that has their hands tied to choose between a bunch of bad options.
What's
Is
the
a
common
is a
sense though,
is a
Doctor
is a
Fish? You're a
huh?
policy guy. What's the common sense? What does it take to start creating jobs? I mean, start from the low man point of view. That what does it take to get a machine that will start to 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 wetting in the rice and stuff like that. What does it really take? What are these guys having it difficult to create jobs for the common people? People are saying
It's not.
Librarians are lazy. They are not lazy. They just don't have the opportunity.
Let me tell you what is happening. Okay. Once upon a time, you had the Congo people that ruled Liberia for a very long time, and they were in minority. And what did they do? They say, these people, if we educate these people rise up against us and take power from us. So let's keep the whole education thing to, just a select few. So it was almost like pre-Renaissance in Europe. A lot of Liberians did not receive proper education. There's not massive education all across the country. Okay, so they thought by keeping the people uneducated, they're going to continue to remain in power. These guys here, they already understand that if you economically empower the people, nobody really got time for you because people have their own money. So to be able to control the people, to be able to continue to sustain a system of patronage, what do? Keep them poor. If you keep them poor, they continue to look up to you. If you keep them poor, they'll continue to have some degree of fake loyalty towards you. George
Wow.
Weah did that thing perfectly. Okay. Joseph Boyka then they came and what's the urgency in creating jobs? Look at Joseph Boyka platform, arrest. Is there anything that talk about job over there? There's nothing that talk about job. Is it agriculture? Liberia had farming problem before the war. Before after the war, like, the problem in Liberia was never about farming. Agricultural Liberians are hardworking, they grow farm. It's just that people like Torbo that was supposed to have magna cum laude in economics sat down and compromised Liberian agriculture system by allowing American rice to pour into the country. That became a disincentive for Liberian farmers to grow food. Okay. And since that time, that thing decimated Liberian agriculture. No one has ever thought about resurrecting it, even though we have a small population and it's easily doable. No one is talking about that because why? Everybody want to do the easy thing. Come steal money, put it in your pocket, based on a hotel in the corner, hoping that one day some tourists will come from abroad and then put some money in your pocket because they come and sleep in your room. That's so narrow-minded. Okay,
Well,
that's so
folks,
narrow-minded, that's so unpatriotic. But all of them, they do it because why? There's not a system that is pressuring them to do the right thing. If you brought these same guys into America and gave them jobs in America, these same guys will be honest. Why? Because of the system. If you take these same guys, Kenya, Europe, all of them, including Ellen, you took Ellen, you pull her back to the UN, she'll be very honest. Why? The system. The system. The system guarantees the prosperity of a nation, not people. Napoleon said that.
well, folks, if you're just joining us, this is Ashford Garley live on Bridge Radio. Again, we'll be here tomorrow night, and at which time we're hoping that Herbal Fisk can join the platform as well, so that we can continue to talk about Mama Liberia. And we have about 30 minutes to go. But just before then, Dr. Fisk, uh, these guys talk about corruption. The Boyka guy, when they were in the opposition, they talk about coming to power and they will prosecute people. Today, we are saying, just over the last few days, we saw those that they accuse of corruption took to the platform. They are asking their members to pay dues, and a lot of people are saying they won't be surprised when they see George Weah as they're coming to power again. Where is Cummings? Where is Moneyman? Where is Gonglo? I said before that the campaign starts after the last election. We have not heard from those people. We only see George Weah coming, and the people love George Weah. So it won't be any surprise with the ineptitude and the very corrupt attitude of this old man and his gang of thieves in power now. Who'd be surprised if the only alternative is George Weah, Dr. Fisk?
Well, the thing is, and which is sad too, which is sad because the people are acting out of desperation. It's desperation that made them to elect Boyka. Because the people saw George, we are taking the money, go sit down, or go watch UEFA league. Why he run the whole country? He go watch his son play soccer for weeks in US in Olympic, right? Go sit down there because his son is playing. Okay, those are the kind of things that happen. But when the people look at the current situation right now and think about the hardship that they are still undergoing, they say, but then why did we move George Weah? Nothing has changed. Nothing. Okay. So this whole thing about corruption, corruption, corruption. Joseph Walker was never, ever going to prosecute George Weah for corruption because Joseph Walker understands that he was going to be corrupt and his corruption was going to end in 6 years. And then George Weah come back. What going to happen? If he went after George Weah will go after him. So then you just leave it. What you call it? What kuku jumuku? When you inside, you now know that what going on in the country. And then the part that's the most annoying part about it, when they decide that they want to go after each other men jealousy, what do? They go after the ordinary Liberian people and make the ordinary Liberian people jump in the street to support their personal agenda. That's what Charles Taylor did and killed almost all these people because Charles Taylor had a personal agenda, a personal vendetta.
Hmm.
So that thing the only thing that's going to help Liberia is that if we have a good system of government, a system of government that's more robust. The Western democracy, all the guys are senators and elect. You senator, you're going to be there for 9 years. Look at the people's salary. The people's salary, just senators in America, maybe they make even more. This is a country
Mhm.
that's not producing anything, zero. Okay, so it's not just corruption. The corruption has been refined to become systemic. It has been refined to become legal. The people have the people have enshrined corruption into the statutes of Liberia. So, in other words, is interwoven within the political fabric of the country. You know what that is? You know the degree of unpatriotism that it takes that you take corruption and make it a part of the system. That's what is going on. All these guys are disingenuous. The other day, wait, you can call about right? You say you said him plenty chip on your head. For God in heaven's sake. It is the same man that were on television saying that well, I'm 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 worth what $25,000. Then how do you go sell plenty chip on your head? If you worth $25,000, how do you go sell plenty chip on your head? So that is what is happening to the country. The people are either extremely peaceful, or people are extremely cowardly. And these people are taking advantage of these people. Man, the people are also destitute too. Okay, these people are homeless. These people are jobless. Okay, the absence of gun sound doesn't mean to say that there's a systemic war against the population of Liberian people. It continues to happen. It has not stopped, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon.
Well, folks, if you just joined us again, we're pretty close to going home now. Of course, we ask that you join us again tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That will be 9 Central via British Radio. We try to at least appear twice a week as the political season in Liberia it gets on the way, and and that affects you were on the same platform when I said uh, the real criminals are now in power because the worst thing you can do somebody who tasted power before and mismanaged the resources to give them power again. Now you are digging hole for not only yourself but for the country. You have guys who accused Weird and his colleagues of stealing, of corruption. You come to power instead of go after them with all the agencies you have to go after people, the LCC, the Justice Ministry. You don't go after them, but then you start to do your own thing and say, you know what? When we go after, like you said earlier, when we go after the people, when things change, they will come after us. Well, so let us just go ahead and steal our own because Liberia has now become a big elephant made. When you get in power, you steal for yourself. And these guys are so professional, they are so experienced in stealing. You will never find anything in the name. The building homes now in the driver's name, the husband name. They are keeping money in all kinds of different things that you would never even trace because they are used to stealing. They know how to steal. George Weah was a sloppy criminal, but you got the real professional criminals now in power. So it will under worsen the country. That
It makes me think about what happened in South Africa and apartheid. If you go back and watch videos about apartheid, and what people said repeatedly, that the reason why they don't want to break down that system of apartheid, because black people cannot be trusted with power because they are lazy and they are corrupt.
mm,
Okay. By the time Nelson Mandela left power and I think Jacob Zuma took over, that's when you start seeing rampant corruption in South Africa, where I think they took about 1,000 luxury cars from Jacob Zuma. Will you almost 900 years old? What are you doing with all these luxury cars? Okay. So that's the same thing that's happening in Liberia. Okay. The system, when people talk about democracy in Liberia, they're not talking about accountability. When they talk about democracy in Liberia, they are talking about electoral politics. End of story. Everything that happens afterwards, they could care less. But they seem not to understand that when you we need to protect this democracy. Okay, what is the democracy? Electoral politics. The George we are all of them talking about, we need to protect democracy. No, what they are trying to protect is electoral politics. I George we are the other day. Are you going to build a sports academy and say, well, that one it be for me? Why you can't go build it? But you want to be able to come and take power back. So what if building a sports academy is you say I finished passing that stage, then how come you want to be a president if you pass the stage of doing what is right for the people, like building a sports academy? Then why do you want to serve the people? Why do you want to come back to serve the people? You see, because if you have an enlightened society, people start to ask you these kinds of questions. These are the kind of question people ask you. Okay, so you are sports academy, so where you coming, where you really coming to bring to the people? Or it's just a last round thing. You see, so all these guys are very corrupt. If the country was an enlightened country, the way we are was voted out of power, he will be gone for good. Joseph Boakai, by the time this 6 years is over, he's going to be gone for good. Liberians will go ahead and search and be able to redefine the criteria for leadership. And that criteria is supposed to be patriotism. Look at Cummings. People preach a lot about Cummings. Cummings is supposed to be the person with the most job experience, right? Show me one factory Cummings has built in Liberia. Zero.
mm.
Zero. Okay. The people that own Walmart is just a family. That's the largest employer in America. Okay. And Amazon, just Jeff Bezos. Okay. These guys are not running for presidency, but these guys have become brand name just because of how they are impacting people's lives with the kind of activities that activities they are involved with. Okay, so Cummings say he has all of this whatever experience. Why don't you open factory that Liberian people can see? Have the ability to control people. Because why? Now people see you don't even need to run campaign. You don't even need to run a campaign because you have so many factories, you are feeding so many families. It's capital intensive, but at the end of the day, it has good returns. Because why? Altruism matter. Do what is right for your own people. That's the epicenter of patriotism. You are altruistic. You are trying to do what is right for your own people. Now, if that is not what you are trying to do, it won't make you even any better from George Weah or Joseph Boakai or any one of them. This is what is lacking in Liberia. We don't have true patriots.
That's the
We don't have.
voice
Yeah, suppose
of
say,
that.
oh, well, he's what? He's fair. He's fair. He this, he that. those are not things that are going to create job opportunities for Liberians. Liberians need jobs. It's all about jobs, jobs, jobs. That whole thing. Oh well, we peace and reconciliation. No, that time is over. The people need jobs. The people need dignity. They need integrity. They need to be able to compete with the Asians and other people in the country. To compete, they need jobs. If you can't
My
provide
man,
jobs, you want to do the lazy thing, and that is not working for Liberia.
my man, folks. Well, that's all the time we have to be with you tonight. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern on British Radio Africa. And it's been yours truly, the giant side, along Dr. James T. Fisk, Senior, in studio with us here tonight. Dr. Fisk, just take it 1 minute, give it your closing as we call this a night tonight.
I mean, it's always I'm always happy to talk about Liberia because I mean it is our common patrimony. Okay, Liberia is what we have. Liberia is what we will continue to have for ourselves and our children. It's in our interest, just the same way how Western countries have been able to structure their countries to provide for their own children. We need to do the same thing for our people. Thank you.
Basillon Plus, c'est cool. We ain't Pelia. Folks, that's all the time we have to be with you. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same place. Until then, man, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'd like to I say come back tomorrow, same time, Mr. Robert Bosworth, Jess Jack. I also see Herbert Fisk on here tonight. I see Standard, all the way from China. Saba Richard Saba. I had the opportunity to see Saba Richard Saba last summer, yeah, in Minnesota. Grace Avad Avanan, Beatrice Molnay, A.B. Vama out of Virginia, A.B. Bobley. I want to say a big thanks to all of you for taking up time of your business schedule tonight. This has been yours truly. He doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than a lion. As for the giant, just to buy your get, Zebon Ploda, Nadia Kuo, G, that now you know me, Garlet. Have a great night. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.